Hey everyone, so this is the third and final chapter of a series I'm developing on the administration of the Jehovah's Witnesses and their history with German Nazism. If you haven't watched the previous works, I highly recommend you do. They'll be linked below in the description and in the end screen. But just to catch you up to speed here, while this faith was still in its youth, the JWs were considered a religion of hate for their constant tirade of insults against other groups, especially Catholics. In 1933, due to the proximity of the Roman Church to the German government, the witnesses were banned in many states over there. Joseph Rutherford then initiated a declaration of facts in a letter to Hitler where he attempted to flatter the Führer, tried to blow smoke up his derriere, as my buddy Daryl Weilberg would put it. Anyway, the letter and declaration of facts endorsed Nazi ideologies, uttered numerous anti-Semitic remarks, cited specific actions and claims made in their literature to that effect, and praised him for his stance against the Jews and the Anglo-American alliance, among many other shocking details. Upon Rutherford's failure to schmooze Hitler into lifting the ban, he turned to condemning him and threatened immediate punishment at God's hand. As you can imagine, this could not have worked well in the favor of witnesses under mounting Nazi pressures. It's true that many individual JWs resisted Hitler and deserve much respect and admiration for that. However, Watchtower administrators were highly inconsistent, self-serving, and dishonored the inspiring activism of their underlings. The Swiss branch even submitted another declaration of facts to the Socialist Party in 1943, falsely affirming that they have never spoken against the performance of military duties and assured them of such cooperation should the ban on peaceful assembly and prayer service be lifted. Now, the modern-day narrative of Jehovah's Witness literature presents a deeply sanitized account of such well-established historical events. They try to make it appear as though they were unanimously anti-Nazi, when Watchtower executives simply weren't. All of this is substantiated with direct quotes and documentation in those videos mentioned earlier. In fact, there's so much in those works detailing their shameful conduct that I feel everything I've said thus far fails to report fully just how hypocritical the actions of JW leaders have been. Well, today, we're going to get into how Jehovah's Witness administrators later tried to profit off this disgraceful episode in their past. Stick around. Now, this next matter involves the Holocaust victim assets litigation. The aforementioned is a fund to compensate people suffering from the Holocaust. As stated at SwissBanksClaims.com, this is the official information website for the Holocaust Victim Assets Litigation, the fund, against Swiss banks and other Swiss entities. You may have important rights under a proposed $1.25 billion settlement of a class action lawsuit against private Swiss banks and other Swiss entities for their alleged conduct related to World War II and the Holocaust. End quote. An elder's letter dated February 1st, 2001, referred to the Jehovah's Witness Holocaust-era Survivors Fund, Inc., explaining that the fund was being set up to assist gathering money for Jehovah's Witnesses that were eligible for the payment. Whilst this appears at face value to be commendable, Watchtower was also requesting money for itself. SwissBankClaims.com contains the 1999 letter from Watchtower to the fund. Included is a request to receive a portion of the funds on the following basis, and I quote, "Some witnesses died prematurely and left no heirs to make a claim to the Swiss Bank Settlement Fund. However, the legacy of spiritual resistance that they left behind is of great value in the education of future generations about the importance of standing up for the dignity and value of human life. Representing these individuals, the Watchtower would be pleased to devote any allocated monies solely to the interest of Holocaust education and the remembrance of the prisoners who bore the purple triangle, according as the court might stipulate." End quote. Now again, commenting on this issue, J.W. Fax opines the following. It is disturbing that Watchtower requested money that could have been distributed to living victims for what would be nothing more than self-promotion of their organization, end quote. And I tend to agree with that point. Now just to interject here, I'd like to anticipate the objection that Jehovah's Witnesses would have used such monies for honorable purposes and preservation of history, would have been to advance the betterment and education of humanity, telling the story of all who were affected by the Holocaust, not just their own tribulations. But ask yourself honestly, would such an ecumenical and inclusive posture be consistent with what they've said regarding other faith groups or the homosexual community, say? Would this really fit into their theology? These are questions worth asking. Now, after all that, it appears the Watchtower did not receive any money from the fund. A statement of distribution, as of December 31st, 2015, stated, "The settlement agreement defines victims or targets of Nazi persecution as those who were or were perceived to be Jewish, Romani, Jehovah's Witness, disabled, or homosexual. Neither the CRT nor the court had the authority to address deposited assets class claims asserted on behalf of the account's owners who were not victims or targets. Individual Jehovah's Witnesses did receive compensation as part of the tens of thousands classified as non-Jewish victims, Roma, Jehovah's Witnesses, disabled, and homosexual," end quote. I just have to say, it never fails to astound me when it comes to JW leadership. With all their mistakes, corruptions, failed whitewashing of events, lazy historical revision, deceptions, flip-flopping, inconsistencies, and all the rest of it, just how fantastically keen and fastidious they are whenever it comes to money. Now, with everything said today, and there's been a lot said, one can hope going forward that the JWs are just a little more reticent and restrained in their condemnatory, hateful speech against other faiths. Tell me what you think of all that below in the comments, and we'll see you in the next one. Hey guys, did you like this video? You know what to do. And if something I mentioned today resonated with you, click one of them cards on this screen. I have lots of related content sure to interest you. Thanks as always for your views, and we'll see you next time.